extended period of time. President Trump was asked by the New York Times how long the administration would demand direct oversight over the nation. Trump didn't give a definitive answer, replying, quote, "Only time will tell." When the Times questioned if it could take a year or longer, Trump said, quote, "I would say much longer." During the nearly 2-hour sit-down, Trump said the rebuilding process will be profitable and will include the taking of oil. The government today released video showing a Coast Guard ship sailing alongside the Russian-flagged Marinara oil tanker. The U.S. seized the tanker yesterday. The U.S. had been pursuing the tanker since last month after it tried to evade a blockade on sanctioned oil vessels around Venezuela. The U.S. seized 2 Venezuela-linked oil tankers yesterday, including the Marinara. The Justice Department is investigating crew members of the ship for failing to obey Coast Guard orders. Attorney General Pam Bondi said criminal charges will be pursued against all responsible actors in response. Russia said the U.S. seizure of its oil tanker is illegal. The Russian Foreign Ministry has demanded that the American side ensure humane and dignified treatment of Russian crew members. The Senate today advanced a resolution that could limit President Trump's ability to conduct further attacks against Venezuela. Our reporter Arlene Richards takes a look at how past presidents conducted military strikes without approval from Congress.
The yeas are 52, the nays are 47. The motion is agreed to.
The Senate on Thursday narrowly advanced a Democrat-led resolution that could limit President Trump's authority to take further action in Venezuela. An approved amendment to the War Powers Resolution would require Trump to get congressional approval before striking Venezuela again. Trump's surprise attack on Saturday that resulted in the arrest of self-proclaimed leader Nicolas Maduro has come under significant scrutiny by mostly Democratic members of Congress. They have accused him of committing an act of war.
This was not simply a counter-narcotics operation. It was an act of war. This was a military action involving Delta Force, involving the Army, apparently involving thousands of troops.
Republicans have argued that the strike was justified.
We are not at war. We do not have U.S. armed forces in Venezuela, and we are not occupying that country.
This was one that did not require prior authorization by Congress. It just required notification, and all the administration officials did exactly what they were supposed to do on the timetable they were supposed to do it in.
The War Powers Resolution was signed in 1973 to limit a president's ability to engage military forces without congressional approval. The current resolution requires.
The War Powers Act states that notification should be made to Congress within 48 hours following the initiation of hostilities.
The resolution permits U.S. forces to remain in the country for a maximum of 60 days. Trump invoked his constitutional authority as well as the War Powers Resolution. He claimed the strike was justified as self-defense due to Maduro's involvement in trafficking drugs to the United States. Since 1973, presidents on both sides have used their constitutional powers to conduct strikes on foreign countries without pre-approval from Congress. In 1999, President Bill Clinton joined NATO forces in airstrikes against the former Yugoslavia. The reason? To address atrocities committed against Albanians in Kosovo. Clinton asserted his authority under the Constitution as well as the War Powers Resolution. Congress didn't declare war before the strike, nor did Clinton request their approval. U.S. forces continued the attack for 79 days, but Congress didn't force a halt. Presidents don't always rely on the War Powers Resolution. After the September 11th attacks, Congress passed a resolution that allowed presidents to conduct military force on Afghanistan and Iraq without approval. But presidents have used this permission to take action beyond those countries. Presidents George W. Bush and Barack Obama carried out strikes against terrorist groups in countries like Yemen, Somalia, and Pakistan. And presidents consistently rely on their constitutional powers for new situations. Obama asserted his constitutional powers and relied on a UN resolution for his 2011 attacks on Libya. He didn't seek congressional approval and assured that U.S. involvement would be limited in nature, duration, and scope. His aim was to help overthrow military leader Muammar Gaddafi. U.S. forces continued the strikes for 7 months, even though Congress voted against it continuing. but Congress didn't stop the strikes after 60 days. Arlene Richards, NTD News.
The Trump administration announced new dietary guidelines yesterday as part of its Make